Hi, listeners. Welcome back to Revelation Divine. I'm going to be reading from the book of Malachi. The first couple of chapters that I'm going to go through is going to be the first two, and then we're going to be reading the next one after that. I hope you enjoy. The book of Malachi was written by Ezra, or a prophet named Malachi. It's still debated. However, most evidence points to a prophet, most likely a priest named Malachi. The recipients were post-exilic people of Judah. They are the media audience for the book of Malachi. They were given a strong rebuke in order to motivate them to return to the covenant relationship with their God. Since believers in every age needed to be reminded of the covenant relationship, the danger of half-hearted commitment is always relevant. Malachi was written in 458 to 435 BC. It happened occurring in Judah after the rebuilding of the temple. Though the people had recommitted themselves to the Lord, considerable time had passed and they had returned to their sinful ways. It's about God's covenant love for Israel despite their waywardness. God's demand for wholehearted obedience to his word and complete commitment on the word of his people to fulfill their covenant. The sanctity of the marriage commitment, the coming day of the Lord, the coming of Christ's forerunner, and the coming of Christ himself. Women should read the book of Malachi because have you ever resented serving someone or serving the Lord? Perhaps you taught Sunday school for years and are always the one that asks to serve because you're, yes, a woman. The priests in Malachi's day were experiencing spiritual burnout. The repetition of the sacrifices made to the priest represented their sacrifice to God and gave to him the very minimum required. Malachi reminds his readers that repetition for its own sake does not equal spiritual excellence. How you should read Malachi is comprised of a series of first-person prophetic discourses, each of which begins with, "Yet you say," or "but you said." The Lord himself is directly addressing his people. The post-exilic people of Judah are the immediate audience for the book of Malachi. They were given a strong rebuke. The concerns of the book are closely related to those raised by Nehemiah. So chapter 1. Chapter 1, The Burden, the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. Israel, beloved of God, I have loved you, says the Lord. Yet you say, in what ways have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, says the Lord? Yet Jacob I have loved, but Esau I have hated, and laid waste his mountain and his heritage for the jackals of the wilderness. Even though Edom has said, we have been impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus says the Lord of hosts, they may build, but I will throw down. They shall be called territory of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. Your eyes shall see, and you shall say, the Lord is magnified beyond the border of Israel. Polluted offerings. A son honors his father, and a servant his master. If then I am the father, where is my honor? And if I am a master, where is my reverence? Says the Lord of hosts. To you priests who despise my name, yet you say, in what ways have we despised your name? You offer defiled food on my altar, but say, in what ways have we defiled you? By saying the table of the Lord is contemptible. And when you offer the blind as a sacrifice, is it not evil? And when you offer the lame and sick, is it not evil? Offer it then to your governor. Would he be pleased with you? Would he accept you favorably, says the Lord of hosts? But now entreat God's favor, that he may be gracious to us. While this is being done by your hands, will he accept you favorably, says the Lord of hosts? Who is there among you, and who will shut the door, so that you would not kindle fire on my altar in vain? I have no pleasure in you, says the Lord of hosts, nor will I accept an offering from your hand. For from the rising of the sun even to its going down, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. In every place incense shall be offered to my name, and a pure offering. For my name shall be great among the nations, says the Lord of hosts. But you profane it, in that you say, the table of the Lord is defiled, and the fruit of its food is contemptible. You also say, oh, what a weariness and you sneer at it, says the Lord of hosts, and you bring the stolen, the lame, and the sick. Thus you bring an offering. Should I accept this from your hand, says the Lord? But cursed be the deceiver who has in his flock a male, and takes a vow, but sacrifices to the Lord what is blemished. For I am a great king, says the Lord of hosts, and my name is to be feared among the nations. So before we get to chapter 2, I just wanted to go back over chapter 1 and just let you guys know what some of the words meant. So in the first chapter, he's talking about the perversion of the priesthood. And again, you can read Malachi Chapter 1. The word loved, it means to delight in one's earnest desires. And then to be hated means that it must be understood as a lesser degree of love and esteemed rather than a strong version of hate that we know and love, or that we know and understand in this day. So we're going to move on to chapter 2 and chapter 3 in the next podcast, because I do hear my kids kind of starting up a little bit, but I do want to leave you with this thought in the book of Malachi. As we were listening to it, it sounds like the Lord is really coming down on the people who've turned their ways, who've gotten tired of serving spiritually. And so his major complaint about its people was in particular unfaithfulness in a natural and family relationship, like how a son honors his father and a servant honors his master. Yet the priests do not honor God and the King of heaven as well as their master. They dishonor God by offering less of what they should have, things that are not acceptable, that even their own governor would not accept. The Lord starts to forbidden the sacrifices with any defects and blemishes, and thus the priests show just how corrupt they've become by continuing to do that. Again, we're going to be picking up Malachi chapter 2 in the next podcast.